In the far future, Earth faces challenges of hunger and overpopulation. People's lives rely on various space stations and research facilities across the solar system. One food resource facility is on Saturn's third moon, Saturn III, managed by 2 scientists. They soon receive a guest who is tasked to help them in their research, unaware that the guest is an imposter. As a spaceship approaches Saturn, Captain James is urgently requested on Pad 73 for immediate launch. He hurriedly enters the locker room to change into his spacesuit and brings out a cylindrical container, but he notices Captain Benson geared up. James asks about the result of his mental exam, and his colleague answers that he received a potentially unstable result. James consoles him, but notices too late that Benson opens the latch on the ship. James is gulped by the atmosphere outside and hits the metal bars, which tears his body. Benson takes the container, rushes out, and rides James' pad, which is set to land at an experimental food research station on Saturn's third moon, also called Saturn III. Upon arriving, he's welcomed by 2 scientists in charge of the station, Major Adam and Alex, who escort the guest inside the facility. Adam asks about the container, but Benson draws a line that it's something others shouldn't touch. They remove their space helmet, and Benson becomes captivated by Alex's beauty. There's an awkward silence, so Adam tells him to explore as they lock up. The hosts escort him to their lounge area while Adam breaks the ice by initiating small talk. Benson looks at the scanned patches of the scientist and comments about Alex being unable to come to Earth. Once in the room, Benson mentions that the hunger situation on Earth is dire and points out that Adam and Alex's research is behind schedule. The Major explains that they're doing their best, but Benson insists it's not enough and they need help. With this, they go to the lab, and Benson puts the container on the table. He warns the 2 not to touch it and mentions they must contact Earth. Adam reminds him they can't since external transmission isn't allowed during the eclipse, so Alex informs him that the eclipse lasts 22 days. Then, the Major asks Alex to guide the captain to his room. On their way, the woman asks if she can prepare something to drink for the guest, but Benson refuses, saying he only needs Blue Dreamer pills. He notices that Alex doesn't know about it, so he comments about how sheltered she is and gives her some pills. Afterward, Adam and Alex shower together, and as they dally with each other, the woman mentions the blues that the captain gave her. Adam explains it's a pill that stops people from going static. The curious woman teasingly suggests they take it together, and as their intimate moment begins, they hear a loud screech from their dog. They know it's locked up in the lab again, so Alex comes to get it. She picks up Sally, the dog, and sees the container, so she feels compelled to touch it. Before she does, Benson shouts at her to stop. Feeling awkward, Alex turns to leave, but the captain stops her by giving inappropriate comments about her body. She looks at the man and declares she's with the Major before leaving. Adam follows Alex and comforts her by inviting her to her quarters. Here, they share an intimate night. Unbeknownst to them, Benson is watching them from the security camera footage. The next day, the captain focuses on building the latest robot. When he crosses paths with Alex, he makes another inappropriate suggestion, emphasizing that it's a natural thing to do on Earth. However, the woman refuses him sternly. On the other hand, Adam hears the captain's statements from the control room and watches them through the monitor. Subsequently, Benson lets Alex and Adam see the contents of the cylinder. He explains that it's pure brain tissue of an unborn and he only needs 3 to 4 weeks to program it. By then, it'll take over the research facility's program, making either Alex or Adam obsolete. Afterward, Alex expresses her concern about being separated from Adam. She asks if they can apply for remission, but the Major confesses that he's near retirement and hopes that the superiors forgot about them, to which the woman becomes skeptical. Adam can't help but think of their situation, so he proposes to Alex that the solution to their problem is to flush the captain and his robot into space. Though the woman refuses at first due to the cruelty of the method, the Major insists on it. A few moments later, the 2 share a drink and take the Blue Dreamers. Then, Adam mentions that Alex should go to Earth. She refuses and gets upset, but the Major proclaims that it'll happen sooner or later. Meanwhile, Benson succeeds in building his robot, Hector. He barges into the lounge and shows it off to Alex and Adam. To test it, the woman asks it to hand over the flask to the Major, but the robot crushes it. Benson leaves the room with Hector to fine-tune it. Eventually, he connects it to himself, and the robot imitates his body movement. Later, they approach Alex and Adam, who are playing chess. The Major challenges it to chess and jokes around, but it doesn't work on Benson. Hector plays chess with Adam, and the man inquires how the robot works. Benson explains that his brain is directly connected to the robot by a radio transmitter he puts in a chip he placed on his nape. Therefore, anything he thinks, feels, and does, Hector can get everything. When the explanation finishes, he removes the transmitter and lets the robot play alone, saying he teaches it as much as possible so that later it can do things by itself. Adam declares he can't teach Hector the concept of sacrifice. Then, the Major ends the game using a sacrifice to checkmate the robot. Hector's light flickers and breaks the chess piece in its hand. Benson spends his days developing and teaching Hector, but Adam always points out to Alex that it's impossible to control one's thoughts, making the situation scary. The woman says he's carefully chosen and trained, making him capable, but Adam is unconvinced. Days pass by and the Major observes Benson and Hector more, wildly how the man stares weirdly at Alex. One day, the female scientist works in the lab and a small explosion hits her eye. Benson approaches her and tells her there's a live chip in it. Alex begs to call Adam, but the captain petrifies her movement and calls Hector to remove it. Slowly and precisely, the robot succeeds. Adam returns just in time when Benson insists on taking an Earth pill, claiming it'll make her feel like she's there. Alex refuses, and the captain declares he's better than the Major. Adam doesn't interject, but he angrily turns on the water hose. All the while, Hector watches them. That evening, the Major expresses his sentiments to Alex. On the other hand, Benson is forcing Hector to talk. The robot types that it's not ready yet, but the captain insists. He asks what he did wrong, and Hector answers about the real Captain James's demise and how he failed the mental exam. Benson commands him to delete the data and insists that Hector is malfunctioning, but the robot declares that the one malfunctioning is Benson. Afterward, Hector follows Sally into the lab. Soon, Alex hears her dog's whines, so she rushes to her dog only to find it dead. Hector approaches her as she cries and grabs her wrist. Alex taps the alarm and Adam rushes back to the facility. The robot tightly holds the woman in both hands and lifts her, making her bleed. Immediately, Benson arrives